Hello, hello. This is Lady Rochelle, author and founder of Warriors Talk, where we move away from awareness towards action. And I'm so grateful that you have decided to take this ride with me as we dive into our topic, Cancer, a Call to Action. It is Testimonial Monday, and we have an amazing testimony for you today. And I'm so excited. I'm still at home. I'm on the home front. We are doing social distancing, so I'm not in the studio on today, so that's okay. You can go to IntellectualRadio.com. You can go to Intellectual Radio on YouTube as well as Facebook, and just make sure that you keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio and allow us to feed your brain. My show is being sponsored by Allstate with Paula Kelly, located at 327 East Glenwood Lansing Road in Glenwood, Illinois. And she can be reached at 708-758-3300. And she specializes in all of your insurance needs. We are practicing social distancing at church. And my next sponsor is Emmanuel Church of God in Christ, which is with my pastor, Michael Richardson. So you can catch him every Sunday morning on Facebook at 10:15 a.m. right on the Emmanuel Kojic Facebook page, and you can hear a word from God. So again, I'm so excited about the show. If you are just tuning in, please like and share the show. Invite somebody else in so that they can get this powerful testimony that we're going to have today with my guest. If you know anybody who is going through cancer or who has been through cancer, who is a caregiver, then make sure that you are tagging them and inviting them in on the show so they can get this information. Our healing verse of the day is coming from Romans 12:2, and it reads, "And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God." Again, I have a very special guest today, and I'm so excited to bring her on. My special guest today, I'm going to unmute her so that I can bring her in with us today. Hello, Victoria.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Glad to be here.
Awesome. So I want to make sure that I introduce you, so I let them know that you are well qualified to give this testimony on today. So I have Victoria Knox. She is an author, a holistic nutrition wellness practitioner. She's a certified behavior modification specialist and a fitness nutritionist. So I am excited that you have agreed to share your wisdom with everyone on today. I know that they're going to walk away empowered and ready to take action.
Great. I sure hope so and pray that that's our outcome today. So I'm ready.
I got the title, Victoria, from just reading the information that you sent me for the show, Cancer, a Call to Action. Mm-hmm. And inside of my slogan for the show is away from awareness towards action. So I thought that was really strategic. So I just want to make sure that everyone is listening in on this testimony. And again, that they are sharing this live video out with anyone who may be going through cancer. We know that 42,000 women die each year from cancer, breast cancer alone. And that's not even to mention the men, where there's 2,600 that are diagnosed. But we know with the men, the cancer rates are much lower. The death rate is much lower when it comes to breast cancer. But for us women, we have to be on alert and be in tune with our body. So we have Victoria Knox here that's going to be sharing her journey. So you can go ahead and get started, Victoria, on, first of all, what is your relationship with cancer?
Oh, wow. You know, cancer and I have a love-hate relationship, if that makes any sense. My sister had breast cancer back in 1997. Actually, she passed away from breast cancer in 97, but she had it before she was actually officially diagnosed. I got married in 95. She stood in my wedding, and when I talked to her a couple years later, she told me that she actually knew she had a lump at that time. So that was in 95, and then by 97, she had passed away. And I was with her through that whole challenge that she was going through the whole time. So I saw her change and the transformation and the surgeries and different things that were going on with her. So by 97, she had a golf ball size lump in her breast. Finally decided to get diagnosed. By then, she was in an advanced stage, and the cancer had began to spread. So I learned from that experience with her how serious cancer was and is. So, you fast forward several years later, I really decided to just take wellness and health into my own hands. And I lost 50 pounds, and I turned around diabetes and stopped, having to take different high blood pressure medications and things like that. And I was on this path for about almost 15 years, roughly 10, 15 years. And I relocated into Arizona. A weight loss company actually found my book, because I'm a writer. They found my book, brought me in Arizona. And in 2018, then I was diagnosed with cancer. And it hit me completely out of the blue. I mean, here I am in beautiful Arizona. I'm hiking difficult mountains. I'm drinking wheatgrass for breakfast. I'm doing all of these things. I'm getting my colon clean. I'm doing detoxing, all the things that people are telling us to do, that the medical profession, the wellness profession is telling us to do. I was doing those things. I was living that life. And it wasn't like just for a couple of days or even a year. This was my life for at least a decade. And then I found myself also dealing with cancer. So I knew that I needed to take a different approach to cancer. And like we said, it was a call to action. It wasn't a situation that I felt was dismal, that I couldn't come back from it. I had a lot to learn about it. I was diagnosed with stage 3 triple negative, and it was a difficult thing to hear, especially considering all the things that I had done prior to. But it also, the fact that I had these things already as a foundation, as a platform, really helped me, I believe, and even my doctors have said, it helped me get through the treatments and things like that. Because, as you know, going through that, it can be really tough on the body. It can be tough on the spirit, on the mind, and it affects everything. It affects everything. But I realized the biggest challenge I had was stress. I had a lot of stress going on in life. And I think, we all do. We think of, we lost a partner, or we lost a job or a home, or all these different things can happen to us. And I had quite a bit to go on, not just in the last few years, but just in life in general. And sometimes we don't know how we're carrying that thing on and on and on and on. And suddenly there's like a straw that breaks the camel's back. And that one thing brings down the immune system, opens the gate, switches some things in DNA, and then here we are. So that's my experience with it, how it came to be. And so thank goodness I'm now on the opposite end of it, where I had a complete response and went through an integrated treatment, complete response, no cancer found, cancer-free, no meds, nothing. So I'm really grateful to that. But it's a journey. It still is a journey, even to this day.
I totally agree with you. It's a journey unlike any other, and you're going to remember this journey for the rest of your life. When you mentioned stress, Victoria, I totally agree with you. just interviewing different women about their cancer journey and what their life was like before the cancer journey, they always talked about it being a stressful situation right before the diagnosis. And I'm a living witness, because when I was diagnosed, I was so depressed. I was in a depressive state. I just had a baby. And I remember just thinking like my immune system at that point was compromised because I just had the baby and I was depressed. So that turned on that switch to give cancer a chance to come in. Like yourself, I've always been healthy, always exercise, always just running to the doctor for every little thing that goes on. And then lo and behold, I get this cancer diagnosis. And I also had cancer in my family. I had a sister that passed away 3 years before I was diagnosed. And then my father passed away a couple years after I was diagnosed as well. So that let me know that there was a family history, and my sister was the first person that was diagnosed with cancer. So when your sister was diagnosed, Victoria, with cancer, in your mind, did you think like, wow, now this is a family history? Or did you think, oh, she's just an isolated case? That's just her cancer diagnosis. I don't need to be worried about it. What did that trigger you to become, this wellness expert?
Well, when it happened, it has only happened to my sister and myself. We do not have a history of cancer in our family. Neither of our parents, none of our grandparents on either side. None of that. So it felt like, or seemed like, an isolated situation. So I didn't think that it was a family trait because I had not seen it, but that doesn't mean it isn't a family trait. That just means it had not shown up along the way in the bloodline. Doesn't mean it's not there. It just hadn't reared its head. So when I checked myself, they said, well, we checked all the genetics that we could, and nothing's there for you. So that's what led me to believe mine was stress related. And I believe hers was as well, because I knew some of the things that she was going through and had experienced, and a lot of things she held very, close to her heart that she didn't talk about. And it seemed like it was just a coincidence in a way, because like I said, they didn't find a genetic link. We tested the BRCA, we tested like 47 genes, but there's really more than 47 that can be tested. There's more than 47 genes, but right now 47 of them can be tested. So perhaps I'm ahead of science.
Okay, I think she froze a little bit.
They just haven't gotten to gene 48, 49, and 50.
Right.
Her experience. I'm back. Are you there?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, because you're freezing a little bit on. Okay. I think we're both freezing a little bit.
Okay, go ahead.
But her experience did catapult me into the desire to just be well, period. And that meant spirit, mind, and body wellness. It wasn't just, I don't want to get cancer. It was, I want to live a quality life. So I need to take care of my mental self, my physical self, my emotional self, my spiritual self, my financial self, all of this. That was, watching her go through that made me pay more attention to those things. And that's how I came to write my Secret Transformation. I wrote the book long before the cancer diagnosis of myself. The cancer diagnosis is a whole nother book. That's a whole nother one coming. But My Secret Transformation, which is on Amazon, that was like a prelude of all the things that we don't see that connect to our wellness. It's like connecting the dots. You don't think about how going through a divorce will give you 50 pounds, or losing a job can help to spike diabetes, or things like that. So we don't always connect those kinds of dots. Everybody thinks, oh, it's just eat right, run around a block, and you'll be fine. And that's not reality. So when I wrote My Secret Transformation, after experiencing this with my sister, that helped me to connect the dots. And it's a coaching guide. So it actually coaches people through different life scenarios to help them also connect the dots. But now that this situation with cancer has, been another experience, that's a whole nother book that has to come.
It needs its own book, trust me.
It does. It does.
What was the name of the book again? And you said they can get it on Amazon?
Yes, it's called My Secret Transformation. My Secret Transformation, How I Detoxed My Life and Reinvented Myself.
Awesome.
It's on Amazon.
I know a lot of people can benefit from it. I think sometimes we take for granted just your health. And the older you get, or once you get sick, then you know that your health is your wealth. If you don't have your health, then you don't have anything. I don't care how much money you have in the world. It does not matter. If you don't have your health, then you just can't do anything. And I remember when Steve Jobs was dying, and he started writing all of these things that really didn't matter when it came to him having that cancer diagnosis, and he was getting ready to die. And one of the things he said was he couldn't pay anybody to be sick for him. He had to lay in that sick bed, and he had to carry that sickness. He couldn't even pay anybody to be sick. So all the money in the world cannot even heal you, cannot make you whole. Cannot make you whole. So I'm gonna put I'm going to make sure I put the book in the comments so that individuals can go over to Amazon and pick up the book. So you said you had the genetic testing, and the genetic testing was negative. So then you thinking in your mind, okay, well, that means that there's no family history. And I know they say it's only 15% when it comes to a family history of cancer. It's only 15%. And that's what we're trying to get women to recognize, that you don't have to have a family history of cancer. You do not have to have a family history. But you do have to watch your stress levels. You have to watch if you're stressed, if you're not exercising, if you're not eating right. And Victoria mentioned being balanced in all of those areas makes a difference. It makes a difference. And it has to be a lifestyle. It can't be something, I'm going to do for a couple of months. You have to adopt this way of living as a lifestyle, so that if you're doing it every day, then it becomes second nature to you. It won't have to be like you're depriving yourself of having fun, because it will be a part of your life. And then you really won't have to worry about a cancer diagnosis or any other diagnosis. But I always say that there's always an exception to the rule, that somebody may still get cancer if they're doing all of these things. You may still get a cancer diagnosis. But like Victoria said, because she was already practicing these holistic, she had the holistic things into practice. She was practicing wellness. Her cancer diagnosis may be not as bad as somebody else who had cancer and was dealing with other issues with the cancer. So we know everybody is dealing with an individualistic diagnosis. But if you're doing those things beforehand, then you're not going to have all of those issues, all of those different side effects. You may smooth right through them. When I was going through it, I didn't have any other issues. And my doctor said, this is the only issue that you're dealing with. So you should be able to push through this with no issues. And granted, I had issues going through it, but I was able to push through it because I didn't really have to think about, I got this going on, XYZ going on. I didn't have those things. Prepare your body now. We should be getting our bodies in shape just in case something happens. You'll be able to fight it off. Even with the COVID-19, they're talking about pre-existing conditions. These people, I'm sure if they knew this COVID was coming around the corner, they probably would have been eating healthier, exercising, getting the diabetes in check, getting their high blood pressure numbers where they should be. And now they're dealing with this COVID, and it's like it's wiping people out. So we should be getting our bodies together every single day, so that when something like this comes, we won't have to worry about it.
Right. Yeah, because it's not a matter of if it comes, but when it comes.
Yes.
Because something,
yes.
It may not be cancer, but something is going to challenge you. And whatever that something is, you want to have you want your body and everything about you to be able to fight for you when it comes.
Yes. You're right. You're absolutely
because
right.
There's no if, it's just when. And it could just be old age. You know, if you're blessed to just grow in age and not have an illness or a challenge, that's a blessing. But even with that, you have to prepare your body for a quality of life, and you don't want to give yourself anxiety, like I'm doing this so when I get sick I can be better. It's not about that. It's really about just creating a quality of life for yourself right now that's actually going to benefit you as well in the future. So it's a 1-2 benefit. It's a double benefit. It's for now and it's for the future. When I was, getting out and doing all the things that I was doing, and I still get out and hike and things like that. But unfortunately with the COVID, a lot of things are just unavailable. But even when I was going through treatment, I couldn't hike the high mountain like I normally would, but I got out and walked. I got out and got fresh air. I got out and did things to the best of my ability at that time. I just would not take it lying down. So that helped to keep the cells growing and maturing and getting, revamping and all of the things that your body still has to do while it's in the process. So.
And somebody told me it's important to move. If you can move, then you should be moving. You should not be laying down after those treatments. I know it takes a lot out of you and your fatigue, but whatever little movement that you could do, you should be moving. And if you was moving before, then, before everything happened, if you was exercising before, then you still going to have that little endurance so that you can push through it.
Exactly.
Yes. And so that's why it's important to prepare your body right now. So you're absolutely correct, Victoria. I'm hoping that this call to action will get individuals to thinking about not just now, but thinking about, like you said, later on, having that quality of life when you become a grandparent and you want to run around with your grandkids, you want to go hiking with your grandkids. If you're not taking care of your body right now, if you're not feeding your body so that we can produce these healthy cells, then you're going to be in a wheelchair, or you're going to be having a cane, or you're just not going to have that energy level to live a good life at the end of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Resolve says stress kills, and this is Stroke Awareness Month right here. So we know that a lot of individuals have had a stroke. Like Victoria said, something is going to come. So for some people, it's a stroke, and this is Stroke Awareness Month. So for those who know that stroke runs in their family, you should be talking to your doctor about what you can do, what preventive measures you can take so that you can maybe avoid it or prolong a stroke from coming. And we know with heart disease, a lot of the stuff is preventable. It's just we need to take action. We need to take action and do some things. We need to take action and do some things.
Yeah, and a lot of times we feel, when you get a diagnosis like that, and maybe you felt this way too. You may feel like I don't have a choice. I'm stuck. Because the information can feel so overwhelming and so shocking, at the time, you just don't know what to do. But just remember that you do have options, you do have choices, you do have, different ways to combat certain situations. So don't let that add the stress. Don't let that be more stress on you because you just don't know what to do. Start reading, start researching, start, getting information and answers, because it's out there. The information is out there. I had to like, get my emotions in check. I had to get my emotions in check and start to really research the physicians and the places and different I wanted to do. So don't feel like you should take whatever comes your way and let that stress you out, because the process.
Okay, she's freezing a little bit, you guys.
That can compound your.
And it's important for individuals to seek out not just the physical help, but the mental help as well. As Victoria is explaining, you have to get your mind has to be right so it can prepare to fight. Because going through cancer is going through war. So you have to be able to have your physical body, and you have to have the mental intact too. So don't be afraid to, if you need to get help, then reach out and get somebody to talk to, so that you can go through this with you don't have to be fighting your mind. You don't have to go through that. There is help out here. If your doctor don't offer it, then you should be asking your doctor, hey, I need to talk to somebody, I'm having issues. You want to say focus on living. Yes, that's important. It's important when you get that cancer diagnosis. For me, Victoria, the first thing I thought when I got that cancer diagnosis, it was like, I'm about to die. Because that's all you heard associated with cancer. And then I saw my sister die. And so I was like, oh no, that's not about to happen. I have to hurry up and change my mindset before that sunk in and I didn't have the energy to fight.
Yes. That was, oh my goodness, that's so critical. I remember the day that I got the diagnosis. I remember everything about the appointment. I remember all of it. I remember the mammogram. I remember the pathology. I remember the biopsy. I remember every detail because it was going to be different. And everything just kept lining up and just knocking me down like dominoes. It's like, nope, this is that, and this is this, and everything was just pointing toward cancer. And it does feel like a death sentence. The immediate thing we hear is, oh God, I'm gonna die. I am going to die from this. And that it's a scary road to wake up every day facing death like that. You facing it every day, and people see you, your friends see you, your family see you, they see the outside of you, and everybody's like, oh, come on, girl, you could do this. Oh, you're gonna get better. Everything's gonna be all right. God got you. All of that. And that's cool, but on the inside, you feeling something different. On the inside, you like, listen, all that's nice, but you don't have no idea what's going on inside of me, in my mind, in my spirit, in my body, in my heart. You have no idea what I'm looking at. We seeing this thing through different, through different scopes. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to reel that in and get a hold of the reins. Not only trust God, that's the nucleus of it all. Because if you don't trust God in this process, you're going to trust something. But I encourage you to trust God on it, because that's the only, for me.
Yes.
That was my, that was my calm down. Because I was like, God, you said even if I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. If I make my bed in hell, you there. If I go to the highest mountaintop, you there. So whatever I'm going through right now, you're there. So lead me, guide me, give me wisdom, help me to understand, put the right doctors in my path, give me the right things to say, give me the right things to ask. If you don't know, start asking God to give you what to do. Ask him for a strategy so you can be a victor and not a victim. And that's not to say that all of the cancer, people who have passed from cancer were victims.
Right.
That's not necessarily so. The truth is we all have a date, no matter how healthy we live. And that's one of the things that cancer truly taught me, is that, life doesn't care how much wheatgrass you drink. It doesn't care how long you've been a vegan. It doesn't care how many times you hit the gym, because you could do all of that and still get it. I can promise you that's the truth, because I'm a living witness. I'm a living witness. You can do all the right things that society tells you to do, and it can still go in a different direction. So to me, that was a call to say, hey, you're not going to live forever. So start, enjoy your life. Eat a piece of cheesecake if you really want that.
You're right. We deprive ourselves
Seriously.
so much. We do.
Yes.
Take a chance, take a risk, and do something. Even if you're afraid to do it afraid. Just do it. Just do it. Iwana says, stay around positive people and supportive people. Sometimes we be around the wrong people. Like you said, when they see you, they feel bad. And then inside you like, you know what? I'm fighting in here. I don't know what you talking about, but inside of here, it's a war going on. And guess what? I'm winning. I'm winning. But when sometimes they see you, they be like, girl, you all right? You're going to be all right. Girl, just do this. So-and-so died last week with cancer. They have all these. It's like, you know what? Sometimes you have to go into seclusion and be like, you know what? When I'm done with this battle, I'll come out or certain people, because you cannot allow people to get into your spirit. Just be like, thank you, and let them move on. Sometimes you can't answer their calls. Don't just, deal with them once you're done, so that you can have your support team around you.
That's the truth. I had to do that. I just now started openly talking about cancer and in the social media space and things like that, like within the last few months. And I had been dealing with this for more than a year before I started talking about it. It's just people that didn't know me didn't know that, because I still went to work. My head was bald, but they just thought I was doing my African queen thing like we could do, because I was still rocking. My face was still made up, all of that. But they didn't know I was going to treatment every Friday. They didn't know that. They didn't know that I had a PICC line in my arm. They didn't know that I had a cord in my chest. They didn't know that I had been in a hospital twice for infections. They didn't know. They couldn't see all of that. So, as I often say, people see the glory, but they don't know the story. You know?
Yes.
It's like, oh, but you can move forward. You can move forward. I had to let this thing about cancer, it just had to settle. I just had to settle with it. You know what I mean? Because it took me a long time to even talk about it, because I think I was in shock that long, and truthfully, I was a little hurt by God. I was a little hurt. I was like, God, we like this, I'm your number one. How what you doing?
Did you have an encounter with him to where you was just like, okay, I see what it is that you're doing. I don't understand it, but I see it, and I'm gonna follow you, even though I don't know where this is going.
Absolutely. When you walk with God, and I don't know if walking with God is like it's a marriage. It's an intimate marriage. It's so intimate, and you have those days, those times where you're like, oh, I'm so in love with you. I just love you. Everything is wonderful. I could walk on a cloud. And then the next day you're like, I don't even know who you are. I don't even know if you're real. I don't even know if you got my back. So where are you now with all of this going on? Why didn't you have my back today like you had it yesterday? And that's real. That's so real. And you have to let yourself go through that. Go through that. Don't feel guilty about questioning God. People say you're not supposed to question God. I've read the Bible 10 times. I never read that. It's not there. He says, search me.
Yes.
Search me. He wants you to ask some questions because he got the answer.
Yes.
He's got the answer. And you know what? Sometimes God is silent. Sometimes he's silent. And he's not giving you step by step by step because maybe he's already given you the answer, or he's trying to let you grow up so that you figure it out. And that's okay as well. So cancer being a call to action is a call to action in different ways. It could be a call to action to let go of certain people. Yes. It's a call to action to push forward in certain areas of life. It's a call to action to put certain things in place. I had to put my will in place and power of attorney and stuff like that I, had kind of dread doing. It pushed me to do those things. So I encourage everyone who's listening and watching to also do those things. See, what is this calling you to action to do? Is it to live a healthier life? Is it to get closer to God? Is it to start putting certain things in place? What is it calling you to do? Is it to have a healthier diet? Is it to start exercising? What is it telling you to do? Is it telling you to release stress? To stop caring so much? What is it telling you to do? It's telling you something. And all of our messages may be different, but it's telling us something.
Every sickness is not unto death. And I think those of us who are survivors, when we was going through it, we probably in the middle of it, we probably was like, oh, I'm about to check out of here. But, God was carrying us. Like you said, he was carrying us the whole time. We just got to trust him. We just got to learn to know when to let go and let him do what he's supposed to do. And then once you're done with your cancer journey, whatever it is that he put on your heart to do, we should be taking action with it. We shouldn't be sitting back. Our mouths should not be closed. And I know it take us a minute, because it took me a minute to process. I just went through this. Do I want people to know? Should people know? Once you process it, you're not going to be able to keep your mouth closed. Every time you see somebody, you meet somebody, he's going to put you in connection with the right people who you need to speak to. You need to share your testimony with. Don't keep it to yourself, because you never know who may be dealing with it. They may be taking care of somebody that has cancer. They may have cancer themselves. So you need to share your testimony. When you share it, it's a form of healing for you as well. So share your testimony and encourage people to take action with their health, with their, releasing stress, so that they can live longer, so they can be healthy, so they can be able to plan some stuff. Like I went to Paris with my mom last summer. We went to Paris, we went to Rome. We did a lot of walking. If I wasn't in shape, I wouldn't have been able to do that walking. And my mom was 74, and she kept up. She kept up, and she's a diabetic, but she's not on any medicine. But she kept up with everything. It was an amazing trip. So plan some stuff, do some stuff, because once you're dead, you can't do any of that. You can't, that bucket list that you have, it's gonna go in the garbage. So whatever. Yeah, do what you want to do. Do what your heart's desire. If you're asking God to give you the desires of your heart or the desires of his heart, then you should be out there taking on the world. You should be taking on the world. Yeah. Trust and obey him. You have to. It's the only way you're going to get through it is if you're trusting him. There's no way that you're going to get through a cancer diagnosis and not lean on the Lord. I don't know how people do it. For people who don't believe in God, I have no idea. I wouldn't have made it. I would not have made it if he was not the foundation of my life, the center of my life. I would not have made it. I don't know where I would be. I probably wouldn't be here right now. I know I wouldn't be.
Well, the reality is we all believe in something. We all have a belief system of some kind. Some of us, we say, we may call God different things, or we may not even know what to call it, but it is God, because he's in everything. When I'm hiking in the mountains, I feel closer to God than I have felt sitting in church for 40 years. So there's different ways to experience the presence of God. It's not just, only on Sundays, or only in church, or only in Sunday school. So you have to, I've come to understand to allow people to experience God how in the way that it works with them. Even I've been in Israel, and I was in Israel for almost a month a few years ago, and it's something to see the Jews and the Christians and the Muslims all together. They all have different belief systems, but they are really all trying to get to God in their relationship. Mm-hmm. Religion is, and I'm not even talking about religion. Religion is only a vehicle. That's the vehicle that drives you to God. Right. The fact is, you get to him. You get to him. So cancer is definitely one of those vehicles that can drive you. It can drive you in a lot of different ways. And when you are in those positions and at night when you can't sleep because you have neuropathy in your hands and in your feet, and bones are cracking and all these kinds of things are going on, and you're like, Lord, this is unreal. That'll make you talk to him. That will make you talk to him. So, I'm just glad to be here with you and to just share a little bit with people about the journey of cancer, and just to let people know that it does not have to be the end. Someone said that someone on the in the program here said all sickness is not unto death. Right. And that is the truth. Everything is not unto death. A lot of times it's a message coming through for us in some way. And then it calls us to help somebody else who's also getting a similar message.
That is true.
It's part of living a purposeful life.
Yes. We should be seeking to fulfill our purpose. If you are just tuning in, this is Warriors Talk. We are live on Intellectual Radio, and I'm talking to Victoria Knox. We're talking about cancer, a call to action. And one of the questions that I had, Victoria, for you is, a lot of times we don't get to talk about the life after cancer. We hear the journeys from everybody, but we don't really follow up with survivors to see, okay, how are you doing after cancer? So when you hear that life after cancer, what comes to mind?
When I hear life after cancer, I can just testify that there is life after cancer. And that, there's lots of living to do. There's programs, there's other people that can kind of take you by the hand and say, hey, if this is what you want to do, this is the way you can go. You have to start giving back, like you said, some kind of way after cancer. Cancer doesn't happen for you to just sit on the sidelines and think, oh, well, that's something that just happened. I'll just keep going on now. Next. It's not. It's one of those things that makes you realize that you're here for a bigger purpose, that life is about something else other than just existing. Now it's about, I called it survivorship. surviving and thriving together. So I'm a thriver. I'm not a survivor. I'm a thriver because I'm thriving. I'm still thriving. I feel like I woke up out of a bad dream and I looked around and life was back to pretty much the same way it was. I was like, when did all this stuff happen to me? You know, but I know that it did. So I think of life.
Okay, she's
after cancer as that call, emerging in that call to action. You know, being available, being present. After, like you said, it takes a little bit to kind of get through what you've already gone through. It takes a little while to process it. It took me a good year and a half to wrap my brain around what had just happened. I felt like I got hit in the back of the head and I couldn't see anybody.
Wow.
Like, you know, so it takes a while to process that. And how much do I want to tell people? How am I ready to tell people? Am I comfortable? Is this going to stop me from getting a job? Is this going to, you know, are people going to judge me? You know, and we do all this because, for one thing, social media has made life so fake in a lot of ways. Yes. So we don't want to appear like we don't have it together. We don't want people to see our bad side. We don't want people to know, you know, certain things about us because they're going to judge us. Well, let me tell you this. Yes, people are going to judge you with or without cancer. You're judging somebody with or without cancer. It's reality. And so what? And then what? So they make a judgment and they're on the other side of the screen somewhere in another part of the country. And then what?
Right.
And then they hit the button and move on and you move on. And so what? They made a judgment and it didn't change your life one bit or vice versa.
Exactly. So, and life goes on.
And life goes on. So don't care about being judged.
Yeah.
When it's your time to tell your story to somebody, it'll be set up and it'll happen. When I was going through treatment, and I went through, you know, integrated treatment, I had holistic things happening and I had some traditional things happening. And I was in treatment, and I was sitting next to doctors and lawyers going through this and grandparents and young people, you know. I was like, man, it's suddenly it doesn't feel so isolated because it didn't just pick on me. It picked on a whole bunch of people. Here's a doctor sitting next to me. What happens when the doctor gets sick? Here's the nurse, you know, and she was like, I'm a juicer and I do this and we were all like, how did this happen to us?
Cancer does not discriminate. It don't care.
It doesn't. So this whole COVID-19 thing, I don't want to laugh about it, but I'm like, listen, this is a cancer patient's life.
Hello.
This is not new to a cancer patient. None of this. Nope. We are always, or if you're in treatment, you have to always be careful about, you know, infection and and people call.
I think she's
around and being sick, and that's always on the radar.
Yep.
What it's like to experience. It's very serious and it's very similar.
And we keep pushing. We keep pushing.
I have a group on Facebook.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, you broke up.
That's okay.
I was saying you broke up, so I was trying to hear you.
Oh, that's okay. And I was saying that sometimes we keep pushing and sometimes we don't, it's not even for ourselves. Sometimes it's for me, it was for my kids. So, you know, I mean, you get the diagnosis, but it doesn't stop your world. You have to keep pushing and know that there's a greater purpose, that you're going through this for a reason. So one of my questions to you, Victoria, was, what was your defining moment when it came to cancer? What was a defining moment in your journey, actually?
A defining moment was when I had to select a power of attorney, and I had to put things in place in the event I could not speak for myself. And I had never been in a position where I had to designate somebody else to speak on my behalf if I could not. It never occurred to me that I could be in a position like that and my life would be completely in the balances for someone else to make choices for me. And and you go through the details, and the power of attorney is asking you different questions, like, what do you want to do with how do you want your remains to be handled? And you have to start thinking through these things realistically.
Right.
And you have to come face to face with it. And it's like, okay, I have to really grow in this area and not be afraid.
Right.
I have to grow here and not be afraid. And sometimes that's a difficult combination. Either you're going to be scared or you're going to grow through it. And it's like, you got to do both. It's hard to do both. But that was a defining moment when I had to think of those things. And especially in our community, a lot of times we don't have our stuff together. So-and-so just passed away, and now we got a GoFundMe thing, and they don't have insurance, and nobody knows what to do, and nobody had any papers or documents, and that just makes it even harder or more burdensome on the people that are left behind to care for all of your, the stuff. Yeah. I didn't want that. I wanted things very simple, and I had specific things that I wanted to happen. And I wanted all that laid out for my family and things so that they would not have that burden.
Yes.
And I know that's, that people say, oh, that's morbid, but it's not. That's when you really love somebody that you can do those things. Because you don't want them to go through that. Yeah. You don't want them to go through that, extra stress of trying to care for your business. And you're not there.
Because they're grieving you, and then now they grieving going through this paperwork, trying to figure out is it a policy or there's no policy. Now we got to raise money, and then you got the funeral home saying we need this much money. We ain't holding this body. Y'all gonna have to hurt. I mean, it's something that we all have to face.
Business.
Business of it. It's just taking care of your business. And I'm sure a lot of people that's dealing with this COVID right now, they're probably going through a lot of this stuff right now, especially, not even being able to really have a good going home service for their people. So it's just about taking care of your business because you love these people and you don't want them to have to go through it. I can remember when my father passed, he had everything in place as far as like the money for us to do what we need to do. And then my mom, she decided to get her stuff in place. So when he passed, it forced her to let me get my ducks in a row so that, whenever I pass, y'all don't have to go through any of that stuff. Everything is already written out. So, some people get it and some people don't, some people get it.
It goes back to, like I said, if it happens, but when it happens.
Yes.
It's not if you die, but when you die. You know your birthday, but you don't know your death date.
Right.
So we have to stop letting death have such a stronghold over us and such a sting to where we feel powerless to deal with it. And I think when you get a cancer diagnosis, that death thing automatically looms over you. It automatically looms over you, like, oh yeah, that's what I'm coming for right now. Yeah. So when you start
Okay,
taking control
yeah.
over different things, and it's less power there. You're giving it less power, and you're taking your power back. You have more control over it. So it's a different position when you are in the driver's seat.
Yes.
As opposed to letting something happen.
Yes. And
So,
you can be in the driver's seat, and that's the purpose. One of the purposes of doing this show is to let you know that this is a call to action for you to right now start, putting stuff in order, as far as your health is concerned, as far as not just your physical health, but your mental health as well. Don't wait for these things to happen. Like Victoria said, plan for when it happens, whatever is going to happen, that,
right.
that you're okay, that whatever it is that's going to happen, that your stuff is in order. And if you trust in a God, the God that we serve, who's in control of everything, then you know that everything is going to be all right. That everything is going to be all right. One of the last questions that I had, and this is kind of like something that I had, was like, what was one of your favorite songs or favorite Bible verses that you had that helped to get you through your cancer journey?
Well, you know what? Quite honestly, I did a lot of sound healing.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Sound healing, because the body is made of cells, right? Mm-hmm. It's made of it's made of cells, and systematically those cells vibrate. We vibrate when we talk, when we walk, when we, it's like a bunch of cells meshed together and working together, if that makes sense. So I listen to sound therapy. So I listen to the gongs. I listen to sound bowls, and it actually helped me to reduce stress.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So I would put it on in my home. I went to classes. I would often fall asleep in the class because it was so calming and relaxing, and it was systematic. It just went to the core of my being. It was like, your body responds to vibration. When you're talking to somebody, you could feel their energy, or we say spirit. You could feel that something's different about their spirit, or something's off about it, or something's really good about it. And it's the same way with sound. So the sound classes and sound music, sound healing, sound bowls, gongs, I would listen to it at night and let it play. I would feel rested after classes, and that was, I wish I could say it was some Hezekiah. And I like him, it is no slight against him and anybody else. I love gospel music and all of that, but I needed something different. I needed something different, that I needed to experience God in a different way. Because I've been a believer all my life. I'll be 50 in a few weeks. I've been a believer since I was 10 years old. I've been baptized twice. Once in the Jordan River in Israel, and once in church. I done read the Bible. I done taught it. I done taught Sunday school. All of that. I get it. I was like, God, I need you on a different level now. I need to feel you. I need to feel you with a different experience. So the sound healing actually did it for me, and knowing that the sounds that were being made, they're actually like earth tones, things. And like if you go into the opened up the earth and you listen, it's like the sound of the gong. You can hear, my healing.
Wow, that was powerful. So for those of you who are listening, don't be afraid to experience God in an unusual way. We hear these testimonies from our moms and our grandmothers, how God, has blessed them in these miracles, but it's nothing like experiencing God for yourself. And, he may come in totally strange, but you're gonna know that it's him. So don't be afraid to, open yourself up to, experience him and get your healing. So this is what I want to do before we end the show. Victoria, can you tell them again the title of the book and where to get the book, and if you have anything coming up that they need to be aware of?
Sure. So the book is called My Secret Transformation: How I Detoxed My Life, Reinvented Myself. I think you had a picture of me on your site earlier, and I'm holding the book. It's a purple book, and I feel crazy for not having it in my hand right now because I should have. But it's on Amazon. You can buy the book there. But also if you join my group in the Pink Parachute, I'll send you an autographed copy. You could buy it through me and I'll autograph it and send it to you directly. But if you buy it through Amazon, you'll just get the book, the way that it is. But if you were watching today, I want to personally sign to you and send you the copy. So I'm happy to do that. Also, the Pink Parachute is the group that I started after the cancer diagnosis. And I try to keep it light in there. I give people inspiration. I share my story. I share parts of my story. Other people share things that they've gone through. You're in the group. So there's a lot of things. I try to give a little bit on the integrated approach side because there's sometimes there's different types of herbal protocols and things like that you can do. And although I'm a wellness practitioner, I cannot diagnose people over, through the website and all of that. So I'm very careful of how I share that information. But I like for people to know that it's there. When you have information, you can make informed decisions.
Yes.
So I like to give people information and let them make the choice that's best for them. So you can find me in my the Pink Parachute. It looks like a bunch of umbrellas, pink umbrellas on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram as Coach V Knox. And I'm also on Facebook again. I have a public page called V Knox, just V Knox. And that's my wellness practitioner page where I share recipes and I share things about different herbs and tinctures and, some things that you can buy that'll be profitable for your health. Just, that's a whole nother side. So any of those areas, I have a cookbook coming up as well. This pandemic has, somebody says sickness is not unto death. Well, the pandemic is not unto death either. In fact, it's been a lot of things that people have become more creative at and have found a new passion for. And for me, cooking has always been a passion. That's how I got to 200 pounds. But now I'm learning to do that, or I have learned to do it in a different way, in a healthier way. And especially since the cancer situation, again, that's taught me to just appreciate the things that I love. And I do love to eat, so I have to love to cook.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So I started a cookbook and I have all these great recipes, and it's some of our old favorites, but in a healthier version, so you don't feel deprived, like you're being, you're leaving all the goodness out of it. So those things are coming up, and my website, V Knox Life, is coming up. It's a lifestyle website with pretty much all the things that I said and more. So there's a lot of ways to find me, a lot of ways to connect with me, and I'm always open to have good connections with people and pour back into lives as someone has poured things into me. I'm also a giver, so I'm pouring back in all of these ways. So please join me, find me, and please join me.
Awesome. The last comment of the day is from Henry, and he says, cancer can completely turn your life around. And we are seeing that right here with Victoria. Before you go, Victoria, can you please just give us some quick words of wisdom?
You know, like we said earlier, cancer is a call to action. It's a call to action. It's not a death sentence. It's a call to action. And anything that's active has to be live. Mm-hmm. So you have to be live and alive to live a purposeful life. And you're still here. That means you still have purpose. And I just encourage you to find out what that purpose is and to live it. And that's the way you'll find true happiness in life.
Awesome. Thank you again for sharing your testimony and your wisdom. I appreciate you. I'm going to put your book cover and the link in the comments so that people will be able to go ahead and get your book, get it autographed. And if you want any other links for them to have, you can put it right there in the comments as well. So thank you again. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. God bless everybody.
God bless you. All right, you guys, thank you for tuning into the show. My words of wisdom for you is cancer is not a death sentence, but an awakening to live your best life. Meet me next Monday right here on Intellectual Radio at 6 p.m. Stay tuned for Talking with Tone at 7 p.m. He always has some amazing, thought-provoking topics for you. So just keep it locked right here on Intellectual Radio. And with Warriors Talk, we are changing lives, one warrior at a time. I'll see you next Monday. See ya.